Hi friends, in this video we will discuss the comparison between voltage source inverter and current source inverter. First I like to make it as a table. So this table contains 4 columns. First I want to write serial number and I want to write the parameter on which parameter we are going to compare them. And the next one is voltage source inverter and the final one is current source inverter. So on these headings I am going to separate them. So let us move slowly. So first point is actually based on the input currents and input voltages. These things are varying. Okay, input voltages and input currents and the operation, and also commutation circuits, freewheeling diodes. I mean, it can come under structure, and also what is the extra circuitry is required or not. So these things we are going to discuss. Okay, so let's move forward. The first point is input current. So what will happen to input current? Input current, if you see clearly, the input current for voltage source inverter, it may be constant or may not be constant. So it may be constant, may or may not be constant, may not be constant. So if you see the same thing, for example, if you go ahead with the current source inverter, the input current should always be a constant. It should be a constant. So the second point will be input voltage. So what will happen to input voltage? Input voltage. In voltage source inverter, voltage will be constant. So it will be constant. And in current source inverter, it may change with load. So definitely it may be changing, may change with load. Okay. And the next third point will be misfire of switches. So what will happen if there is any misfire of switches? Misfire of switches. So what will happen if any switch is misfired? So it may cause short circuit. It may cause short circuit, and this will be and it is a serious problem in case of voltage source inverter. Coming to current source inverter, short circuit may occur, but it's not a serious problem, because here current is keeping constant. So short circuit is not at all a serious problem. Short circuit may occur, not an issue. Short circuit is not a serious problem. Okay, it's not a serious problem. So these are the things related to, we can say that, input or maybe switches. Now let's move on to output side. So what will happen to output? So output current. So coming to output current, the amplitude and waveform depend upon load. Okay, it's a current. So current is not constant for voltage source inverter. So the output current is always depends upon load. So which part of output current is depending upon load? Both amplitude and shape, or we can call waveform, depend upon load. Depend upon load. So coming to current source inverter, amplitude is independent of load because current is keeping constant here. So amplitude is independent of load. Is independent of The same point can be repeated for output voltage also in the reverse manner. So output voltage, so how it will be? So coming to output voltage, in VSI voltage is constant, so amplitude is constant. Amplitude is independent of load. Independent of load. Amplitude and waveform depend upon load. This is for output voltage in CSI. So amplitude and waveform depend upon load. Depend upon load. Okay. Next, what will happen to peak current? Peak current. So coming to peak current, it depends upon circuit, may not be limited in worst cases. So here current is there. So in voltage source inverter, current is not at all limited. So sometimes it may be worst case also. So how the current would be? Peak current. The peak current always depends upon circuit parameters, and sometimes it is worst also, and it may be worst for some time. Okay, it's not limited actually, so it's not limited, so sometimes it may be worst. So coming to current source inverter, as input current is constant, peak current is limited. So here it is limited. It is limited. Okay, peak current is always limited. Now coming to commutation circuitry. Commutation circuits. It is actually for VSI it is complicated compared to CSI. So it's complicated. So coming to this, it is simpler. And freewheeling diodes. So what happened to freewheeling diodes? Are they required or not? Freewheeling diodes. So freewheeling diodes are really needed to handle the reactive power. Here these are really required, needed to handle the reactive power. So coming to this space, it is not at all required. So not needed. They are not required or they are not needed. And coming to large reactor. So what happened to large reactor? Is it required or not? Large reactor. So large reactor is not at all required in VSI, is not required. But coming to CSI, it is very much required to obtain constant current source. So which is required. And the next point is extra converter. So whether extra converter is required or not, that part we have to see. Extra converter. Yes, so what will happen to extra converter? Yes, it may be used to get constant input voltage, and extra circuit or extra converter may be used for getting constant input current. So in both the cases it may be used. So it may be used for getting constant voltage in case of VSI, and it may be used for getting constant current in case of CSI. So this is the comparison. That means in both the cases it's required. Okay, it may be required depending upon the circuitry, depending upon the load, it may be required. Extra converter may be required, for keeping their constant values. Okay, so these are the 10 points from VSI and CSI. So these points are very very important, and this question is very important and very much popular in the examinations. Okay, comparison between VSI and CSI. Sometimes it may be asked what are the advantages of CSI compared to VSI. Okay, if anything is asked, you can write these points. So if you have any more doubts, you can put it in the comment window so that I can answer your queries. And if you like this video, please like it. And if you want to share this video, please share with your friends and family, and kindly subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you. Thank you so much.